Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Ask Dr. John, a father-daughter conversation series about the book American Change Agent, A Life and Legacy of Seeking Diversity, Equality, and Inclusion by my dad, Dr. John F. Leeke, and yours truly, Ananda Leeke. Today, we're talking about the Divine Nine. That is a reference to the African American Greek letter organizations. That's right, the Divine Nine, the D9, as many of us know. Our family has a rich legacy of Divine Nine members. And today we're going to blow the roof off of all of that. How are you, Dr. John?
Well, well, fine. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. I've been looking forward to this conversation. This is probably one of my favorites because we have a dynamic Divine Nine legacy in our family. So everybody, when we started writing the book, we realized that not only did we have Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority prominently represented in our family, shout out to all my sorors, we had some other organizations. And so this episode is going to dive deep into that legacy. But first, we want to talk about chapter one. Chapter one is where my dad and I have spent an enormous amount of time telling you about the people that we come from. And so, Dr. John, I invite you to introduce chapter one, The People I Come From, with a reading of a quote by one of your favorite, I would say, mentors in many ways. You didn't really get to know him personally, but you know his work.
Yes, yes, I do. Uh, and I've often said that he really set the stage for so many of us, and he certainly uh, was a mentor to me, not necessarily a person that I personally uh, experience, but I certainly have utilized his thoughts, his words. So let me just share with you one of the quotes from W.E.B. Du Bois. He said, I believe in pride of race and lineage and self, in pride of self so deep as to scorn injustice to other selves.
Mm.
That's not a lot of words, but oh, what meaning, what connection that uh, Dr. Du Bois left us with.
Yeah.
And so um, I just want to say, and I say it someplace in the book, um, I give a great deal of attention to race.
Mhm.
I identify and I make no excuses for identifying the race of pretty much everybody that I came in contact with and continue to have contact with. It's so ingrained, so inbred in me.
All right. Well, one thing that I want to say is that for those that did not know, Dr. W.E. Du Bois was a change agent, a sociologist, a historian, a civil rights activist, a Pan-Africanist, and an author of numerous books. He was the founder of the NAACP, and the same year that he founded the NAACP, and I think I said it with three different A's, it's the NAACP, The same year that he founded it in 1909, he joined the Epsilon chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated at the University of Michigan, of all places. So you have a connection to Dr. Du Bois because you both were at the University of Michigan. I'm not certain if he was a professor at that time or if he was studying or researching. I just know that you all, your paths have crossed along that University of Michigan trail. So when we look at the Divine Nine, I'm going to name all of the fraternities and sororities and give shout outs to, but we first have Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. Then we have Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. Then we have uh, the Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity, as well as Omega Psi Phi fraternity, Delta Sigma Theta sorority. Then we have Phi Beta Sigma fraternity, Zeta Phi Beta sorority. Then my own and my mother and my great grandmother and my great aunt, our sorority, Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, and then we have Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated. So all of these are the Divine Nine. I'm not going to spend time on the years where they were founded, but these are the core D9 when we hear that. You'll see folks repping their colors, repping their where they were founded, where they joined. There's a whole legacy, rich legacy. And I think America found the D9 in a big way when Vice President Kamala Harris showed up on the scene, and all of her sorors and all of the members of the D9 showed up in support. She's a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And so I want to spend some time sharing our family's rich legacy of the membership. And I'm going to start with the great grandmother, my great grandmother, your grandmother, Florida J. Leeke, Florida Jones Leeke, became a member of Sigma Gamma Rho sorority in the early 20s, right after it was founded. She became a national leader, a member of the board of directors as the Grand Antigrammatius from 1927 to 1929. Now, in addition to your grandmother, Florida, her sister, Lillian Jones Brown, was invited to be an honorary member. Lillian Jones Brown was a drama teacher and a activist and an organizational founder of um, groups and organizations that supported Black women and families and children in Indianapolis, Indiana. So that right there, that begins our family's um, legacy of D9, Divine Nine membership and support in the community. Now, the thing about the Divine Nine is that we as organizations are involved in every aspect of life. We support education, we support housing, we support economic empowerment, we support political power in terms of voting registration. We're nonpartisan, but we believe in registering people to vote and educating people about their rights. We are involved in volunteering at, at different levels. We are involved in raising money for different projects. So we're about service to our community and the larger communities around us, the upliftment of African Americans and other communities of color, as well as other larger communities in our cities, in our states, and in our country. The man that delivered you,
Yes,
Dr. Clarence
Dr.
Coles,
Coles.
he was married to your grandmother, Florida J.
No,
He
married
was
to
married to her sister. That's what I was getting
sister.
ready to say. Her sister, Lavinia Tolles. Dr. Tolles was a member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. Incorporated. When we did our research and we were looking at programs from funerals, his membership was listed in one of those programs, as well as in some articles we found in the Indianapolis Recorder. So sometimes you don't even know who the D9 members are in your family if you don't do the research, because not everybody uh, speaks up and not everybody is left to tell you the story. Now, you got a member that is very close to you that is a part of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, your father. John Leonard Leeke. And we did not know that he was a member until I was online at Morgan State University in 1983, pledging Beta Tau chapter for Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. And that's when we found out that he was a member. He told us the story. He and his cousin, our Uncle Bill Jones, they were members and they joined at University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana back in the 30s. At the same time, we learned that his sister, your aunt, Jane Leeke, Lillian Jane Leeke Shell, was a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority. She joined Fisk University's chapter in the 30s when she was a student there. From there, we learned that your Aunt Mabel Roberts, the Roberts side, she was a member of Zeta Phi Beta fraternity, a sorority. And then you meet your wife,
Hmm.
Teresa B. Garten Leeke, who is a member of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, and you were even taught by some of the founders of Sigma Gamma Rho Incorporated, Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. I'm getting excited because
That's all right.
this is, when you sit and you think about what was going on in the teens and the 20s and the 30s and the 40s and the 50s. And the Divine Nine members were so focused on upliftment of self and community that in the midst of everything that they were going through, they joined these organizations and they came together and they worked together. For you, I want to ask, what's your impression of the Divine Nine? Because you're a member of a white fraternity, predominantly white fraternity, and you were at a PWI, predominantly white institution. That's what we call it these days. But what is your impression of the Divine Nine? Because you grew up um, a little different
Yes.
in your Greek membership.
Well, I certainly enjoyed and continue to enjoy a membership in Pi Lambda Phi, and yet, based on what all that I know and have experienced over my lifetime, uh, I realize that the role that the Black fraternities and sororities have played uh, in our country's history, and I want to make sure people understand that when we talk about the Black organizations, that we're talking about American history, not just Black history. And so, without the Divine Nine and all of the things that they've done to strengthen the Black community, I don't think people have uh, a, a thorough enough understanding. I mean, and again, if we just simply think about the contributions that so many Black Americans, both Black women and Black men, have made to the growth, the development of this nation, uh, it it's enormous. It's enormous. I mean, uh, I sometimes I wish that when I went to college that I would have had that opportunity to have joined one of the black fraternities. At least I can say at Indiana State now, black fraternities and sororities are represented. But I'm very clear because that I immediately became interested in being in a Greek organization when I went to college. And so I am fully aware that had I gone to particularly a historical black college, that I would have been a member, and more than likely I would have been a Kappa. Yeah, because I'm sure that that would have come up, and my father, John, uh, he would have let me know, uh, you know, that's the organization that I should join, and I would have had the support of Bill Jones. I mean,
And your godfather, because
yes,
Lionel Artist was.
Lionel Artist was also, and Lionel was very figural in my life in a number of different ways. So yeah, uh, I regret in one sense that I didn't. And I know people have said, well, you could have joined a grad chapter, but I don't. I think it's important that I remain clearly a member of Pi Lambda Phi. I was a charter member of my local chapter, and I gained many benefits from that. But I do know, and I'm certain of it, that had I had that opportunity, they would have contributed very heavily to my development.
Yeah. And I wanted to just go back and say that in chapter 2 of the book, we talk about your journey from Indianapolis to Terre Haute to Washington, D.C. And we mentioned that when you were in kindergarten in Indianapolis at School 27, which was a segregated school, one of the founders of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, Hattie Mae Doolin Redford, was
My
your
team.
teacher. And she was also a Sigma mother to your wife, my mom, Teresa B. Garton Leeke. And she came and stayed in our home. You can't make this stuff up, in the 70s. And so she was at your wedding. She was a member of Alpha Sigma chapter when mommy was a member of Alpha Sigma chapter. She helped uh, mommy in the pledge process of becoming a member at Butler University Alpha Chapter. So your life and your connection as a Sigma Gent for over 60 years, over 50 something years, because mommy was a member for over 63, 64 years, I believe, when she joined. And by the time she made her transition, you have seen a lot of Sigma Gamma Rho sorority. So I want to turn it back to Sigma Gamma Rho sorority. So you are affectionately known as many things to sorors. And when you go to a regional, an event, a local event, a national event, or a boule, because we were at the Centennial in Indianapolis. What what is your experience with Sigma Gamma Rho? Give us some reflections, give us some feedback because
For sure, yeah.
you've seen
Well,
you've seen a
yeah.
lot.
Yes, I have. And, I've seen a lot because of Teresa's involvement, commitment to Sigma Gamma Rho. And literally from the time that uh, we were uh, starting to develop more of our life together, um, she was involved. She played, well, she wore a number of hats in the sorority. She was um, Basilisk several times over for Phi Sigma in Washington, D.C. Not only was she there, but even when we were in Flint for a relatively short period of time, she helped to charter a chapter in Saginaw,
Gamma
Saginaw
Psi,
Bay
yeah, it
City.
was Gamma Psi Sigma.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't know all of the,
Oh, I'm
but,
just giving
but,
shout outs.
but
It was
thanks for putting it in.
Gamma Psi Sigma chapter and
Yeah.
shout
And,
out to the sorors.
yeah. And not only, I mean, that connection, because even after we moved from Flint and spent the rest of our adult lives here in Maryland, I remember a few years ago uh, that chapter invited her to come and be their keynote speaker at one of their events, and I can remember us flying out uh, to uh, uh, to be there for that, and to see the the warmth and reaching out uh, to Teresa. But then probably the proudest moment that I had during our lifetime was when Teresa uh, received for her uh, what's this called? Why am I drawing a blank on
Culture
it?
Pearl status
Her culture pearl.
in 2000,
That's
in
that's a
2000.
rare that's a rare thing. There are not a lot of sorors that become a cultured pearl, which means 50 years, 50 active years. And that happened at a boule when it was in Palm Springs, California.
Mhm.
And I went with her because I attended. I'm not sure how many boules I attended, but I attended quite a few, and that was always a very enjoyable uh, thing to be at. And I got to know over the years, I got to know a number of Grand Basilisks because they would be in our house. I think I know at least three would be at our house, and so I got to know them. They got to know me. I am still very much in contact with a couple of them, and whenever an event is here in Washington D.C. and the national officers come, and Teresa would go to one of the events, and I would be warmly greeted by the leadership. So now the other thing that is significant for me as it relates to Sigma Gamma Rho, and that is your becoming a soror
Mm.
and when you went over. And I know that there would have been no way you would have ever. I don't think she would have allowed it. I don't think I would have allowed you to have selected a to join and become a member of any other sorority other than Sigma Gamma Rho Incorporated.
Yeah,
And
because that's something that we grew up with. I mean, when mommy was the advisor at University of Maryland, and even before that, when she was an advisor at Bowie at Epsilon Lambda chapter, and then at University of Maryland, the charter chapter, she helped to establish the charter chapter there with the nine members of of Eta Beta chapter. Shout out to all of Eta Beta. And that was in the spring of 76. It's like these were people who were like big sisters for me, in the sense of showing me what college life was like. I was getting ready to enter junior high, just having conversations with them, and then watching me grow and me watching them in their lives, because they were 6, 7, 8 years older than I am. And so it was wonderful to be on trips with them after they became members, to watch how um, they were mentored, their experiences, their community service. As kids, we participated in homecoming. So we were at Bowie State. We had our first HBCU experience in the early 70s, and didn't really know what it was. But when you look back at the pictures, with the parades and the parties and the football games, all of this, we were a part of every aspect of it, from um, helping to create food for rushes, for decorating for different events, to putting bags together, all kind, you name it, we did it. In terms of staff, I've always been a staff member. We've always been staff. When mommy became a member of Phi Sigma, and then later decided to run for offices, including Basilisk several times, we were her staff, uh, and making sure that things happened the way that she wanted them to happen. And also travel companions. I've got to see early on what it was like to go to a midwinter workshop, to go to a regional, to go to a boule. Um, yeah, Sigma Gamma Rho is not just a sorority. It is for me, it was a training ground for young women's leadership early on, and how Black women can work together, women of color, women now of all um, background,
Ethnicity.
ethnicities, identities, professions coming together. And so I think one of my proudest moments with Sigma Gamma Rho and our family was going to the centennial, both the centennial week in July of 2022 and the Founders Day weekend with mommy in November of 2022. Both of those were um, memories that I'm so glad that I became active again in 2020, renewed my membership. Um, because I would have missed all of that, and all of the history, and all of the love and togetherness and the service. Um, so yeah, I think that's a good way to wrap up this section. We could go on and on and on, but what we want you to do, encourage you to do, is to let me slow down. Go to anandaleek.com/Dr. John to learn more about American Change Agent, a life and legacy of seeking diversity, equality, and inclusion. And there's some information about the Divine Nine in the book in chapters 1 and 2. When you go to the page, make sure that you sign up for our email list so that you can stay in touch with us, and we can share information about our upcoming fall and winter events. Now, as self-publishers, we urge you to purchase the book directly from IngramSparks, because as self-publishers, we make more money when you purchase it directly from IngramSparks. You can also find the book on Barnes& and Noble's website, as well as Amazon and any other online publishers. Is there anything else that you want to share, Dr. John?
No, I just want to put a plug in for the Divine Nine in the sense that for uh, for families, I I'd encourage you uh, to let your children know about fraternities and sororities, and that when they are choosing uh, what college they would go to check out to the extent to which that those colleges have uh, black fraternities and sororities on their campuses. And I know that for a lot of folks, they say, well, it's very expensive to be a member of a fraternity or a sorority. But as you put the money out for their tuitions and their housing and other things that you see as significant for their ongoing development, an investment in a black fraternity or sorority will pay great dividends
Mhm.
as they move through their lives.
Yes. And I second that. And I want to give a shout out that, in our family, um, we started with a rich legacy and we continue with a rich legacy of Divine Nine membership. We have a member, Melody Roberts Neal, who Dr. Mel is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. We have Linda Thomas, who is a
Yes.
member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority. We have Dr. Vivian Cook, who is a member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, and so many others. We've got other cousins and um, other groups, but those are the three that I wanted to highlight. Because one, I know that they'll probably watch the video, and two, they came to mind as I was thinking about um, our family members. I want to give a shout out to also our extended family. This is way extended. The Leeke and Sons funeral home in Chicago, Spencer Leeke Jr. is a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. Have to remember that. And my cousin Andre Johnson, member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated at Alpha Iota chapter in Morgan State University. So many rich um, stories, service projects, impact that we make in both the professional, political, social, you name it. Every aspect of life, American life, has had the impact of a Divine Nine member and organization. With that said, y'all, check them all out. If you are coming to DC for the Congressional Black Caucus, you're going to see us there. And if you're coming to homecomings, you're going to see us there at all historically Black university and colleges, HBCUs, you'll see us there. So we're everywhere. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye now.